Hello, I'm in Kintamani. Regular viewers of the channel might be thinking, aren't you the off the tourist trail guy? And where's that black t-shirt you're always wearing? My friends, I am not on the tourist trail. I am on Rockstar Road. Welcome to the Batcave. Where do we start with this place? Maybe the Twin Peaks curtains? Or should we start with the Morticia Addams chair? There are no less than 6 different seating areas in this place. I'm going to count them off, but I'm going to save the best one till last. And this one here is a bit of a cheat, but there is a workspace, which unfortunately I need. There is also a delightful couch. As I show you seating area number 4, it has just started to rain. Seating area number 5. Thankfully, all weather coverings. What's behind bat door number 1? There is a kitchen with convection hot plate and kitchen utensils, refrigerator, instant hot water, instant cold water, good for making your coffee, and wine glasses. And you know what? I cannot tell you when I last had a wine in Bali. This is going to be the occasion. What's behind bat door number 2? Double vanities for a start. This is also where you'll find your robe and slippers. Full-length mirror for checking yourself out like a rock star that you are. And shower. Western toilet. Porthole with views. Speaking of views, this is the view that I'm going to wake up to from this bed. Yep, that's Mt Batur. If only that strange thing wasn't spoiling the view. What is that? Oh yeah, it's a wood-fired hot tub. And all going to plan, I'm going to fire that up tonight. This place is cool. This is Bu Komang, and she is going to sort the wood-fired hot tub out. I'm glad to be watching the process because there are going to be other occasions when I want to be in the hot tub and I can't be calling on someone the whole time. So I'm learning, I'm watching, I will hot tub whenever I want. How does a guy with a $30 a night accommodation budget find himself in a wood-fired hot tub in Kintamani? There's a bit of a story, and there are 2 people to thank, one of whom I don't even know. Earlier in the year, I published an episode to YouTube. That episode featured an interview with a man named Bagus. Bagus was the owner of the accommodation I was staying at, but he was also the architect of it. I thought that was interesting. I did an interview with him. When I published that episode, I sent him a message on WhatsApp just saying, hey, heads up, I've published that episode. He said, yeah, I know. I've already got a booking from one of your viewers. If you are that viewer, thank you. You are part of the reason I'm in a wood-fired hot tub in Kintamani. I don't do accommodation walkthroughs for kickbacks or freebies. I do an accommodation walkthrough of every place that I stay so that you get to see what's on offer around that price point of 30 Australian dollars. Anyway, knowing that Bagus also had an accommodation in Kintamani that he had designed and that it was rad, I thought, what's the worst that could happen if I asked him for a couple of nights for free? Bagus, bless him, said, no problem, just tip the staff. Believe me, the staff are going to get the $30 per night that I would usually spend on accommodation. So the second person to thank with the biggest thank you is you, Bagus. I will raise a glass and propose a toast to you and gratitude. Terima kasih. Whew. One in a hot tub goes to your head, and my stomach has said, sort it out. Now, thankfully, there is a ceremony on, so there is food everywhere right now. It's raining, but it's not raining. It's like water particles suspended in the air. We're probably engulfed in cloud at the moment in this elevation. It's a delight to be in a rain jacket and not sweating. Usually it's like your own personal sauna. I've got to tell you, at the moment, it's any food you want, so long as it's brown and fried. I've just spotted lettuce. That's a green oasis in a fried desert. They're making kebabs and burgers with that lettuce, and it really is tempting. Part of me is saying, dude, don't do it. You get plenty of burgers and kebabs when you get back home. But then I did just neck half a bottle of wine. That's something I can do at home too. I'm in a quandary, but everything else is fried. I think I'm doing it. In a plot twist, the kebabs are being fried in oil. That's new to me. The moment of truth. To be honest, I don't hold out much hope for the lettuce in a fried kebab. Okay, bite number one was bread and fresh air. Ah. As you'd suspect, the lettuce is somewhat liquefied. Or should that be liquefied? It's like Close Encounters of the Third Kind out here right now with this fog or mist or cloud or whatever it is. It's the little things that amuse me. After so much hot weather and sweating, it's nice to be in a place where you're blowing steam. Chocolate and peanut butter crepe to bring it on home. This is tasty. Makes up for that kebab. Incidentally, can't complain too much. That kebab was 10,000. That's under an Australian dollar. This was 20,000. Very tasty. I'm very crunchy. A little while ago, I did a video about things that I pack that some people might find a little over the top for Bali or unusual. Since then, more and more things that I use in my everyday, I've thought, oh, I forgot to include that in the video. I forgot to include that in the video. My portable French press is a morning lifesaver. I tell you what else would be a morning lifesaver here. And I'm complaining, but not complaining. If you do want to have a sleep in, close the curtains before you put your head on a pillow for the night because the sun will be knocking on your forehead first thing in the morning. However, it did give me the opportunity to get up and see some beautiful little vignettes. Everywhere you looked, there was something a little more special. I'm not sure of the plan for the day. This is one of those places where you think, I just want to hang here all day. But then you look out and you think, oh, I just want to get amongst that. So maybe at the bottom of coffee number 2, I'll make some hard and fast decisions. But there was a menu in the room for a nearby cafe. And seeing as I've already had a kebab, a crepe, I'm not really sticking to the Bali script, so I'm all in. I've just spotted something that I haven't had in a long time, a full English breakfast. Oh, now's a good time to talk about this guy and his friends. That's the first fly that I've encountered. I've been to Kintamani before and had a lot of trouble with flies. Now, if you go to any accommodation in Kintamani, and not just this accommodation, and encounter flies, it is not because there's anything unsanitary about that accommodation. Kintamani is one of the real fruit bowls of Bali, and a lot of fruit and vegetables grown here, and they use a lot of manure as fertilizer, and you can connect the dots. So there does tend to be a lot of flies around, but don't blame it on your accommodation. This is a good start to the day. Hey, I haven't mentioned the name of the accommodation. It's Cabin Okana, name on screen. And I haven't mentioned the price. On a well-known accommodation website, it's currently at about 2.3 million rupiah per night. That translates to around 190 Australian dollars per night. If in your mind you're thinking, that's a bit expensive, or you're comparing it to places you've stayed at before, or you're comparing it to places that you've seen online around that price point, don't. There is no comparison. The place is completely unique. Everything about it is handmade and bespoke. So whatever you're comparing it with, you're not comparing apples with apples. Enough talking, more eating. I've chosen to sit in a little secluded, shady corner of this cafe. When I first walked in, of course, they wanted to seat me with this view, but nothing compares to the view that I'm currently living with. The bacon here is amazing. If you would like to stay at Cabin Okana, contact Bagus direct. I'll put his WhatsApp number in the video description. Contact him and sidestep the accommodation websites. That'll work better for you. That'll work better for him. Saya kenyang. Let me tell you about the word kenyang, which in Bahasa Indonesia means full, but in Bahasa Bali means erection. So after a meal, if you're ever telling anybody, saya kenyang, you might want to clarify. Although the Balinese meaning would mean you really, really enjoyed the meal. No hard and fast decisions have been made about the day for that to happen. I think coffee number 3 needs to happen. Last time I was here in Kintamani, it was the middle of wet season, and so that messed with any hiking plans that I had. Rain means muddy trails. You don't want muddy trails. You certainly don't want downhill muddy trails. It's just dangerous. I prefer to hike solo. Hiking solo plus danger equals stupidity. And as I say in many, many videos, I promise my wife I won't do anything stupid. Not on purpose anyway. But today, I think a small hike might be in order. This place is called Ritakala Cafe. I had the big breakfast at 85,000. I had the Americano at 30,000. So that's a big Western style breakfast coming in under 10 Australian dollars. It's not something I'd usually do in Bali. It's not something I'd usually eat in Bali, but I'm pretending I'm a rock star, and this is breakfast with rock star views. Something I forgot about because I don't usually dine at these kind of places. That price did get sales tax or service charge added on top. Came in at around 132, and but that's still, under $11. Now, there is a young lady here. Say hello, hello, and she's been hovering outside the window the whole time. I knew I wouldn't get past her without. She's selling tissues. I don't need the tissues, but we will help her out a little bit. Here you go. That's for you. That's fine. Okay. Now, I'll have a little explore. The other thing that's been happening while I've been sitting there is outside the window is a constant parade of people. I've just been chatting to a man named Nyoman Putra, and he's been telling me what this ceremony is all about. I'll let him tell you.
My name is Nyoman Putra, so welcome to Bali. Today we have big ceremony about the temple, and the name of the temple is Ulun Danu Batur, Kintamani, Pangli Regency, Bali. And the ceremony come once a year, big ceremony. And this temple is second biggest temple in Bali after the Batcave. Batcave is mother temple in Bali.
Last night, visually, we were in some moody twilight zone. Today, it's total festival vibes. And I can tell you, that sun is beaten down. And much to my surprise, last night, today, not a tourist in sight. I don't quite understand it because maybe I just assumed that all of Kintamani would be covered with tourists. But I'm a little further north than the first magic viewpoint that you come across when you're coming from South Bali. I think a lot of people get there and stop there. That's only like, I don't know, 10 minutes ride from here. But there seems to be some invisible force field that prevents the tourists coming further along this road, and I like it. I like it. Incidentally, the walkway to the accommodation is right next to the temple. That's my bike. There are a couple of points of interest along the way that I wanted to show you. In fact, I'd say that this is still part of the temple. Yeah. Anyway, wait a minute. Temple behind me. Temples everywhere. I want to show you one of the neighbors' houses. I haven't met them yet, but I can tell by their decor choices that they've probably got some interesting stories to tell. Alex. Permissi, Alex? Just took a punt that maybe Alex would be in, but no. But the fact his door's open is probably a good indicator of levels of trust among the community here. Tell you what, with that sun beating down, getting a little less inclined to go on that hike. Probably got fooled yesterday. It was a little bit more overcast. It was reasonably cool when I arrived. It was a very cool evening. No air conditioning required. But just looking at that landscape there, it's just begging to be hiked. So toughen up, Ben. Hat, sunscreen. You've got the gear. Let's do this. I'm heading to a place on the map that's green, and from there we'll just look for a trail. This is looking promising. Before we get too far into this hike, it could just be me talking to a lizard for 20 minutes and getting lost. So I'll just give you the greatest hits version. And if you want to see the full extended director's cut of me huffing, puffing, sweating, taking wrong turns, I'll put a link to that in the video description. Here's the thing though, it's all downhill, which means unless I can somehow turn this into a loop, I'll look regardless. It's going to be at least 50% uphill, right? So at coming up 3 o'clock, if I go downhill, oh man, this is really downhill. I need to bust out the trekking poles. As I bust out the trekking poles, now's a good time to mention, please don't hit Bagus up for free accommodation. There's context you don't know. He and I have a relationship of sorts established. I've been a paying customer at his Sukawati accommodation on 2 occasions, and he and I bonded over our shared love of music, particularly the Stone Roses, R.I.P. Manny. And the reason I mention it now is because I wouldn't have these trekking poles with me if it weren't for Bagus. When I fly, I only bring carry-on, and you cannot bring a metal tip like that in your carry-on. So before arriving at Bagus's Sukawati accommodation last time, I sent him a link to an online Indonesian website where you could buy these. He bought them for me, and then I paid him cash when I showed up. We can't get into too much trouble in terms of getting lost on a path like this. It's when you see another path coming off it and think, ooh, what's down there? That's where things can start to unravel. I'll try not to unravel. Regardless of any destination, this path is now opening up to a rather delightful view. I first developed my love of a hike that time that I walked from Freiburg in Germany to Basel in Switzerland. Not quite on a whim, but very, very, very unprepared. And at the end of it, I was sunburnt, sore, and had it not been such an amazing experience, I possibly would have been filled with regret, but it wasn't. That's where my love of the hike began. Later on, my wife and I lived in Slovenia for a while, and the love of the hike continued. We spent some time in the Netherlands, where hiking is kind of a cheat because it's on the flat, but you can still go through some really surreal landscapes. And then 6 years living in New Zealand, where it really became the full-blown, you know, starting hiking before the sun comes up and finishing when the sun gets down. There are some very exotic plants along this route. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. It's like a Christmas decoration. Now things are getting a little bit more dark and mysterious. Just quickly back to that big walk, 80 kilometers from Freiburg to Basel, and all uphill, but through the Black Forest, rolling vineyards, and overnight impromptu camping, because stupid here didn't realize how long it would take. I had to head into a village, knock on a door and say, have you got some water? But that was just part of the adventure. But the reason I bring it up again is because 26 years ago it was, I vlogged it. Not saying I was ahead of the game or invented it, but I've got past form. In fact, here's a little clip. So here's my plan. See that behind me there? Where we go? There you go. That's Freiburg. And my plan is to walk from Freiburg through the Black Forest. Well, who would have thought I'd get sunburn? Which I definitely am. And did I mention that it's all uphill to Basel? Who is that fresh-faced youth? Thank you for indulging me. Things are getting a little bit more sketchy. And when this happens, you got to start thinking, well, how far do I continue with this? Whee, hello. Knowing that I've got to get back up it. Now, there is a little path down there. Whoops, but that's not as well formed enough for me. I'm going to continue on this route. The path is becoming a little unclear. Or is it? Now it's situated. Oh! Talk about timing. It's situations like these when you can't see what's underfoot that you can all of a sudden fall in a hole, or worse, fall, I don't want to be dramatic, fall off a cliff. Oh. I tell you what though, this has turned out to be exactly what I was looking for. I'm going to take a punt and start heading uphill and hope that this turns out to be a loop. But I can see if I have to turn around and come back, at this point here, I may keep heading straight because there's somewhat of a path there instead of taking this turn here. So it's the old Hansel and Gretel trick. I'm just going to be hanging some toilet paper a little bit down the way of that path that I came. And also I'll hang some up on this wire here. God forbid I've got to come back in the dark, and it'd be very easy to not see this black wire. And just getting a compass bearing, that's pretty much west. So from here, if we're pretty much heading west more than we're heading any other direction, we might pull off the perfect loop. And so we press on with hope in our hearts. This has turned into somewhat of an uphill skiing expedition. Flattening out a little bit, but I can see the whole ridgeline now, and there's still plenty of uphill to come. We've reached a point where it's very important to have your wits about you. I will show you why. There's the track. There's about 1.5 meters beside the track, and then it falls away. Except that's not 1.5 meters. There's about the 30 centimeter mark. So you've really got to stick to the track, which actually up here is a far better example. So yeah, in a situation like this, you can have foliage growing here that juts out a whole, 1 meter or more, and you think that that's solid ground. It ain't. That's a nervous laugh. Cool. We're heading into fairy tale forest now. I like this. Maybe we'll get to meet Hansel and Gretel. We're back on a paved surface. I think we've pulled this off. We did pull off a loop. That was the direction I went at the start. And this heads back out to the main road right beside the temple where the ceremony is happening. So that was an hour and a bit down, near enough to an hour 45 coming back up, and about 3 hours door to door of the cabin. What you're about to see is a reenactment. I just rounded this corner on the way back to my accommodation, and the light is hitting in just such a crazy way. My quads have a lot of questions right now. I think the hot tub's got all the answers. I've met these prickles before, and they are evil. I will take the time to pick them out of my t-shirt, but the socks, that's a different story. I've been here for 36 hours, and I just noticed there's a TV inside. If you're watching TV while you are here, you are doing it wrong. But if you just want to stare at something and zone out, that's what the fire pit's for. Hey, thanks for hanging out. It has been super cool here. Thank you, Bagus, for allowing me to stay here. If you're a subscriber, I will see you again soon. If you are not yet a subscriber, but you enjoyed this video, check out this playlist of similar videos, and maybe, just maybe, I'll see you again soon too. Cheers.